More than 100,000 people have fled Syria's civil war for the relative safety of this camp across the border in Jordan. Many refugees, civilians and rebels, arrive at the Zaatari camp with serious injuries from the war. Others have pre-existing disabilities. British photographer Giles Duley spent 2 weeks taking pictures of refugees who are double-cursed, not only forced to flee home and country, but in some cases trapped in their new surroundings.
Here was a woman who was in her 70s, and the Syrian army came to her house. They were looking for one of her sons, and they found the family hiding in a cellar, and she was pushed over and broke her hip. In the refugee camp, she cannot actually get out of the hut that she was living in, is trapped there, can't get to the washing area, the toilets.
Saosan's husband was killed in the war. Then, during a protest on her road, she was shot in the leg. It was amputated above the knee. Now she lives in a tent at Zaatari with her 10 children. Giles can form a rare and instant bond with his subjects, gaining their trust as soon as he walks in. In 2011, he stood on an IED in Afghanistan. He lost his left arm, his left leg below the knee, and his right leg above the knee.
This hand was really smashed to pieces.
His right hand was crushed and had to be rebuilt with dozens of small steel plates.
I think there's something about the fact that somebody looks at me and they think, okay, this guy's gone through something similar. This guy has experienced something that I have.
Even before he learned to walk on his new legs, he taught himself how to work a camera with just one hand.
2 days after the blast, I was in and out of consciousness. And I remember the first person I saw was my sister. And the only words I said to her at that point was, "I'm still a photographer."
A photographer who considers himself lucky to have received the best medical care Britain has to offer, the support of family and friends, and
it's great having a knee.
Meeting the refugees put Giles' own challenges in perspective. Even though their injuries were often far less severe, their prospects for recovery, physical and mental, were grim. Bashar was 12 when shrapnel tore through his leg. He lives now in a rented apartment in Jordan, and he's getting treatment, thanks to the charity Handicap International, but the apartment is on the 5th floor, and there's no elevator.
All he talked about was how much he missed school and wanted to go back home to Syria so he could carry on, especially his music.
Giles is living, walking proof of the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. With his pictures of the refugees, he hopes to show that for thousands of victims of Syria's civil war, children, women, civilians, there is hope against the odds, but there's not nearly enough help.
I'm not sure whether one side should be backed or not. Everyone talks about the red line being crossed with chemical weapons, but in the middle of that are civilians, everyday people who are caught up in it, and we seem to have forgotten them to a certain extent.
Tucker Reels, CBSNews.com in London.